Game development hell, what do you guys think this is? I think it's scope creep. You try to finish your game, but there's so many things that you think about. It's fake, I think. I don't think it's fake, man. So what I think happens is you have your game, but you're constantly trying to make it better and better and better. That's what I'm doing right now. You're trying to basically compete on all levels to have the best game possible. And you are spending so much time on these things. Probably about scope creep. So I wanted to watch this for a long time, but I wanted to wait till the video was old enough so that we don't take all of the views away. I want to take a look at this. Most people burn through procrastination as they try to refactor their spaghetti code into the final project. If you're not in development hell would be if you work for 2 years without updating your demo. Oh, wait. Okay, bro. It's not development hell. It's just sunk cost fallacy. You should have packed up some things long ago to play your strengths and become a full-time React clown and content stealer. Thank you very much for those messages, guys. I really appreciate them. You can go fuck yourself. Let's go. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure it's about scope creep, and it nearly ruined me. So that must mean that he's close to finishing his game. It is not out yet, but he already has 2,000 followers. So now can you extrapolate followers? I don't know, but maybe we can. Let's take a look. Tiny Glade. Tiny Glade had 700,000 followers. 700,000 wish lists. Oh god, they have 120,000 followers? Ooh, man. I mean, can we extrapolate or not? So how much is 2,000 divided by 100? Let's do 120,000, right? 1%. So he has 7,000 wish lists. That's good, though. 700,000 times 0. Let's say 0.2. I mean, between... Yeah, somewhere there. It's about x10, right? That's what I always did. 10x. You mean 20,000? I mean, maybe. So this would be 1.2 million, and then he has about 20,000 wish lists. How much would I have? Cakez 2D. I don't have 670 wish lists, bro. I don't even have 500. I mean, we'll have to see, okay? Maybe he goes into this.
Well, it's been a minute.
Hello!
Half a year, in fact, since I've made a video on this channel.
Damn.
So for those...
The last videos he made were about Unity, I remember. How disappointed he was in Unity. That was the Unity debacle, guys.
Those of you who may have forgotten me, and that's understandable, I was working on a combat side-scroller called Blood and Mead.
Yeah, wait a minute, that's really loud, bro. Sorry about this. Sorry.
And then I pretty much just disappeared at the peak of the channel's success. So I thought I owe a bit of an explanation as to where I've been. On the surface, things were progressing well. The last video having collectively like 500,000 views across YouTube, thanks in part to Asog God.
Yeah, we saw this, how he tried to get a publisher and the publisher told him to tone down the gore. And then he tuned up the gore and told the publisher that this was his answer. And Asog God reacted to it. It was really cool. I love that. You know, this is what you can always... You can be lucky to have Asog God react to you, and then you get a huge push. It's awesome. I just love that. You know, this is really cool. Asog God is a great person. Like, a great streamer and YouTuber. I like it.
I did a video about my last video.
Yeah.
A bit of a video inception.
Then you can play with their head like a soccer ball.
Messi, give it to him.
You know they used to do this? Yeah, this is a big thing people used to do all the time. There it is.
Perfect for unlocking doors.
So, you know, at a time like that, it would be appropriate to kind of ride the momentum, try to capitalize off that success, but I did the opposite.
You couldn't.
I decided to shut it all down, and I became a game dev recluse. And that is because my project had some fundamental problems. A victim of...
Rework time. See, that's why I rework my systems all the time. We test the systems, we rework the systems, we build the systems, and we repeat until it looks and feels good. That's just how it is. Like, he knew that his game wasn't ready. You just rework UI, that's wrong, you're lying, and I should ban you. Yep. See you in 5 minutes. There you go.
Entropy, chaos, to put it simply. Chaos in my code.
Oh yeah.
Chaos in my design.
Oh yeah.
And chaos in my mind. I got to the point where I was going to sleep with a feeling of dread. Dread of not being able to bring the project together. And the dread of failing, I guess. I was at a crossroads with only 2 available options. 1, abandon the project, give up on the dream and go back to a normie life, if you will.
No way.
Or 2, muster up every last bit of energy I had and attempt to climb out of this pit I had dug for myself.
I wonder, like, okay, so I have the same problem, right? You like, to give a simple overview of my project. It started out as a clone from a Vulkan project that I made. I made a 2D game, Pong, in Vulkan. And so I had a Vulkan renderer for the longest time. And I used that Vulkan renderer as a base to start making a tower defense game, which I, like, in the beginning, you make ginormous leaps of progress, right? I have enemies running around in the map, along waypoints, and then other heroes or units can attack those enemies. Simple tower defense mechanics. You get those in, let's say, a week to a month. Very simple. And then you start working on art, you make it look a little bit more flashy. And then over time, as you progress, in my game, at some point I couldn't progress anymore because Vulkan was blocking me. So I needed it took me like a year to get away from Vulkan and switch over to OpenGL. And before that year, I even had to rework the Vulkan renderer 1 or 2 times because it was getting out of hand. And this is C++. It doesn't apply to engines, but in engines you build systems. These systems, you work with them. At some point they grow out of hand. You have to rework them too. And sometimes very complex systems take a long time to rewrite so that you can scale them, because that's ultimately what you're going to do. You build a test level and then you scale that. You scale that out. And that's essentially what happened to me. I tried to scale Vulkan. I couldn't. Toss it out, use OpenGL. Takes an entire year to get that done. Still not 100% done, but feels much better. And then you build your other systems like attacking, defending, upgrading, items, inventory, playing sounds, stuff like that. You build that up, you use it, you realize it's dog shit, and you have to do it again. And so ultimately, I think that happens to anyone. And bashing through this, I think that's the most stressful thing. And I have that in front of me still. It helps that I have a side job and that will pay me my bills and I can essentially take as much time as I want to. But if I didn't have that and I needed like 6, 7, 8 months now, it would be a really stressful situation. I don't think I could sleep like him either. I could see what he means, yeah. So yeah, that's ultimately what happens. It's just a normal process.
And pit is perhaps an understatement. Bogged down by complexity, inefficient workflows, and unscalable infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that's because the design had changed a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Since the game's inception.
That's the first version. Yeah. Crazy.
But a lot of the systems just were not designed
to be scaled.
Scale for the new scope.
That's the problem.
I could no longer see the goal anymore. I could no longer see the next milestone, and I was caught in this.
You would like to have subtitles for the video? Yeah? Sure. Like this? You guys would like to have subtitles? Sure.
Desert with no hope in sight, basically. And perhaps you can relate to that desert wasteland I describe in any creative endeavor, really, between the honeymoon phase, where it's really fun and you just start off, and the end, which is pretty much the entire project. But somewhere towards the end, it gets really tough, and I suspect it's where a lot of projects of any sufficient...
So, like, the way he's talking, you see how stressful it is for him? See, that's why I told you guys, and we talked about this earlier, where you guys gave me a hint on, hey, why don't you put a date on when you want to release your demo version? That way you can focus on that date and have like a goal in front of you. I think that is counterproductive because you are stressing yourself out so much for that particular date or that particular goal that it becomes more like a chore and you might make mistakes or code in something that you think would work now and you just do it to get it done. That ultimately you will have to come back to this and fix it later. So I did a demo version before. It's on Steam right now. It's terrible. And I spent a lot of time and effort onto that version, onto that demo version. However, I'm now working on another demo version, but I'm not, I kind of put myself the end of the year, but I try not to put a time frame on it. I try to focus on the game being as good as possible while not taking too long to complete. And just going with what I need to do every day. And just being consistent. So as to like not think about what is ahead of me, what is in front of me right now. In this very moment. What can I do today? And to be honest with you, I do have doubts, but for the most part, this helps a lot. It's tremendously helpful. However, I do realize that this can also be a bad thing to do because you ultimately take too long. And then if you take too long, if you don't have a situation where you're set up that you can take as long as you want to, you're running out of money. You're running out of a place to live, maybe out of food. That can be a very dangerous thing. So yeah, it must have been for him. That's what happened to him.
Complexity die.
He is driven forward, always forward.
False finish lines emerging all over the place. You kind of follow one path only to realize you got to backtrack and rebuild a system, drowning in technical debt. An endless, perpetual game of whack-a-mole. Just knocking out problems and new ones constantly popping back up again. The barrow...
See, like, when that happens to me, chat makes fun of me. Oh, look at this. Changing one code is another bug, and changing the app part is another bug. Yeah, that happens, guys. That happens. I agree partially, but I don't. Set a deadline, you get scope creep. Immo. If you don't set a deadline, you get scope creep. Immo. Yeah, so you do... Like, the way I like to see it is like this. If you don't set a deadline, it is easy to get scope creep, but you can be aware of scope creep and try to limit yourself all the time while still iterating on the systems and making them as good as you can and trying to scale the systems while you're doing it. So, like, I do agree with the scope creep, though. You have to be very careful, even when just designing the systems. And a system, like a system, if you don't know what that is, a system could be as simple as spawning a projectile, making it fly to the enemy, and impacting it on the enemy. And then scale that times 10, times 100. Let's say you want to spawn 5 projectiles. How do you do this? From one unit. You already have the code for one projectile. Can you scale it to 5? What if 2 units attack with one projectile to a target? What if a target dies and the projectile is still in the air? What's happening? What if your original unit dies? All of these things need to be scalable. And that's ultimately what a system is. It's a projectile system in this case.
Downs of Gamedev. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you'll understand that. And it would have been really easy to let it all go and make that pain stop at that point.
The problem with restarting projects like this is that you make really good progress in your next game, but you're going to face the same issues in the new project too. So you're not really learning how to progress past that point. You just learned to get to this point, which is where you get your systems, they suck. So like you have your systems that are completely imbalanced, that cannot scale, that you have to rework. And that will happen in the new project too. So it's better to stick to that one project and see it to the end, even though it takes a long time. And maybe you need to abandon the project, but start smaller. That could be another solution. But ultimately, you don't really learn how to scale at all. You don't really learn how to make systems that are rigid, that work. That's something you can only learn over time.
In life, if you want to see dramatic changes, you typically have to make dramatic changes within yourself, within your life. So I completely shut everything down. I became completely unreachable for the most part.
Hi.
Hello, John?
How are you? Who are you?
I'm not gonna...
Stop it!
I'm not gonna call if you're gonna keep...
Stop whining!
No recreational screen time and no YouTubing. Complete vacuum dev mode, completely myopic with one...
Yeah, I can't do that. I don't know about you, but I have a family. I also need to do a job. Unfortunately, I can't just do the vacuum thing.
Goal in mind, to crawl out of this hole I was in. And I set myself a goal of having a playable demo, completely production ready, of a sufficient size.
Do you have it?
That was my goal. And it was a tall task considering the quagmire.
You see, I agree with you guys in chat. I think it's not a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing either, because you're focusing so much on your game. What you're missing in this situation, and hopefully he talks about this, sometimes you need to take a step back and give yourself that break, that relaxation, to realize that, oh, wait a minute, I should do it differently, because that makes more sense. Most of the time, at least the best ideas I have, is I get those on the toilet, under the shower, when I'm doing something else. And I think you need that. Pornhub, whatever works for you, my brother. Whatever works for you. Yeah, so for example, for me, a big thing to get my mind off computer is to play soccer. It's completely disconnected from the online world. It's like I'm going into another universe, essentially. And that's really helpful.
I was currently in. I've always put a lot of value in work-life balance, but in truth, work-life balance is a bit of a luxury. And there are periods in life where that balance has to go out the window so you can get shit done. Every moment not dedicated to my day job or my family or my general survival was given up to the Gamedev gods. 1 month passed, then 2, then 3.
Okay.
With every month that passed, I became more determined and relentless.
Damn!
Kind of like
It's
a
like a machine.
machine. Became my baseline state. And after 6 full months of this brutal regime, I stopped. I built out a version of my game, sat back with a controller in my hand and a beer in the other, and I could only marvel at what I had achieved.
Was it good?
This time. The skill system was done. The map system was done.
Giga chat.
The combat system was done. Even the title screen was done and fully functional. The inventory system was done.
Yeah,
The shopping system was done. Leveling and
for us, that is meta progression, and leveling where we have to.
were done.
Yeah.
The new on-screen combat HUD was done.
Ooh.
The UI screens and systems were more or less done, including the settings screen and all those kind of annoying things. The entire input system was redone, allowing for real-time input detection for different input types.
Damn,
and
that's
with
smart.
gamepads, the game feels really good. But with keyboard, it's often a lot more difficult to get a game feeling as intuitive because you often have a lot more buttons to press and it's kind of unconventional positions. But I'm happy to say that I got it feeling pretty damn good. And miraculously, the save system is now fully functional and working. And that was a big headache because, you know, things like abandoning your levels mid-play, you got to reset all the data to the previous state. I did a lot of coding over this time. But, you know,
wait, the previous stage, can't you just keep a save point for when you start the game? That's like in your memory, and then you just reset the level, you just set it to the previous point. Isn't that very easy? Just a save point of data. Okay.
Not all about the code.
But maybe that's because of Unity. Maybe that is because of Unity. Okay. Don't wanna, like, for C++, it's just a binary dump.
The game is the design. And I did a lot of game design and art as well.
That's the difficult
Creating
part.
so many new regions of the games, so many new biomes from the village of Cravenhelm and its many NPCs.
So what that means, by the way, what he's showing right now is content. What that means is he managed to iron out his systems and he could finally scale those systems to more and more content. So for example, in the tower defense game, what we do would be, I have now ironed out my systems. I can make a second level without having to worry that if I change one little thing, I have to redesign both levels. That's essentially what he did. Awesome. Really cool.
Deadlands, the Bonefire Mine, Crowfall Bluffs,
Nice.
Bog,
Damn.
and many, many more.
Nice.
I even added bonus levels to each map region. Things like timed speed challenges or combat challenges with a leaderboard.
Oh, you need timer in your game, bro. You need a timer somewhere. Hopefully he has it. Put a timer in your level while people play your level. That will make speedrunners go haywire. They will play your game over and over and over again.
To see where you placed. I also spent considerable time glamming up and improving the visual look of the game, just to bring it up to more modern standards. Things like dynamic lighting, luminosity filters, LUTs, and even the water reflection, which really makes the scenes pop now.
Yeah, it does.
I also added a stack of new enemies, and I think there's over 20 unique enemies in the game at this point.
That's
Skeletons,
awesome.
spiders, sorcerers,
Yeah,
and even this friendly
look at those
looking
armored
grunt
enemies.
enemy that goes by the motif Skull Eater.
That's the first
I even
boss, I
started
guess.
adding the bosses.
Oh, that's the first boss, I guess. Okay.
For some extra flavor and lore, I went so far as to add a bestiary where players can read about all the different enemy types as they discover them.
Okay,
I even
nice.
got a lot of the story and writing done. And that's a tricky thing, and I had to go back to a lot of books and read up about story writing, and man, there's a lot to it, you know, just to get a cohesive story, a kind of flamboyant story about this warrior, kind of inspired by...
By the way, you know what happened here? You know how, I don't know the saying in English, but I guess the he who tried to catches all rabbits catches none, something like that. You guys know the saying. So essentially what I was trying to do before, and I tried to do that too. I'm aware of that, by the way. I'm not stupid. He tried to do work on the game, so focus on the game, focus on the family, focus on YouTube, and maybe other things in his life, like you saw him canoeing in a river. So that's already 4 things he tried to focus on, and with that split of attention, he wasn't able to fully master one aspect. He was getting good at all of these aspects, but he wasn't really getting professional in one. And so that is usually what happens in this situation, and it happens to me too. I'm like getting good at all of these together, but I could become a much better game developer if I were to focus only on my game. I don't stream, I don't make YouTube videos, I don't interact with my family too much, I don't work other side jobs, I just do this. That's something that happens, yeah. You see the result right here. It's crazy how much progress you can make if you do that.
One of my favorite movies in pop culture, you know, Lord of the Rings, Witcher, Conan, and many other inspirations. But importantly, after all this, I now had a fully functional demo with hours of content.
And?
Man, if I had said that to myself 6 months ago, that I would have all that, I wouldn't have believed it. At this point, I did the only sensible thing I could think of, and that was to force my wife to sit down and play it. So I plugged it in on the big screen in the lounge room.
By the way, big props to the wife for letting him do this for that long. I'm pretty sure it must have been a very stressful time, you know, having someone that just works. I can speak from experience. I want to see, does he have it on Steam? Add to wish lists. I don't see a demo version. Am I blind?
To kind of simulate a console experience, and just sat back and let her play, and that was a really special moment for me.
Yeah, my wife would do that too.
Do I have to get rid of them like that?
No, you don't have to. There's a chance to get another coin. Yeah, see?
Oh, okay.
It's like a random chance. It's not every time, but...
He shouldn't explain it too much, especially if his wife is not a gamer too much, because if you're explaining game mechanics, that means it's not obvious to like someone that is not familiar with this. Obviously, gamers will be familiar with this, but non-gamers are not.
If they're going to come back to life.
No, they don't. Collect it.
Do I need to get in?
Well, technically, no.
Oh my god, where'd he go? Ninja. Get up! I'm just going to avoid him.
Yeah, alright.
Okay, yeah.
Remind me to go over there.
Well, it's a bonus if you want to get the... I mean, skip it for now. That's alright. It's for players who want to collect...
No, don't tell her what to do. You need
No,
to see her
wrong way.
struggle.
Oh, nice.
I thought I'd get it with that.
Yeah, you can. You can.
Good,
That's the
because you
thing.
don't need to
Yeah, you
worry
can.
about
Game
it.
looks
Yeah.
good.
Nice. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, man, it's a special thing to sit back and watch someone play your game in real time. So while the game is not complete yet,
Okay.
and I still have a significant kind of mountain to climb to get it out the door,
Okay.
I now can see something that resembles a finish line, and that's something I just did not
Why is he not putting out a demo then? I wonder why.
have 6 months ago. In fact, it was completely unheard of, and I could have been making a very different video today announcing the abandonment of the project. So I'm glad.
That's really sad if he did, because ultimately so many YouTubers do that. And, you know, it sucks always to see this, because it's ultimately giving up. And I'm happy you didn't.
That is not the case. And thankfully now my life can return to some semblance of normality and balance.
That's important.
Which I'm very excited about.
Yes.
So I went over to visit my friend Oliver. We played basketball.
Nice.
We hung out. We talked about Gamedev. He showed me the game he's working on, Gorgon Shield, which has now been released like 2 weeks ago. So it's worth checking that out. He's a great game designer, really tight game designs. So I think I'm officially back on YouTube now. And I think of those of you who have stuck around, I wasn't sure I'd have any subscribers left when I got back. Blood and Meat is a completely solo project. It's a lot of different hats I'm wearing. And by virtue of this foolish decision, I've learnt a lot of lessons. And hopefully I can communicate some of those in
Where's your demo version, bro?
Now, regarding a demo, I plan to release a limited demo to the Discord group in the near future. So if you're interested in taking part in a future playtest,
I wonder why.
just jump over to the Discord and wait for the ping, I guess. I've updated the Steam page, so if you want to see some of the new screenshots or videos, I'll drop a link down below. So thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Yeah, where's your demo, right, Mr. Azen? Man, holy, this part was the craziest part, you know, where he showed all of the progress he made to the game. That was insane. I'm very happy you made good progress. But it's a bit unfortunate that it's only for Discord users. I wonder why. I've been thinking about this while, you know, we were watching the video. Let's say he only releases it to a fraction of his community. I think it's a mistake, to be honest, because ultimately, in my opinion, more data is better. That's how I see it. It's a good idea to limit issues, fixing technical issues or fundamental flaws with the demo before the bigger public gets the demo. Same reason why closed beta tests are a thing. I see. So maybe he first does a closed beta test, figures out the majority of the issues there, and then after that, he goes and releases the demo to everyone. The reason why I'm saying this is ultimately because of this. When you have out a demo on Steam, you can see how long people play your demo, and for me that's 6 minutes. And usually the more people play your game, the higher the sample size, so the more accurate this data is. Let's say you have 2 people, one played for 2 hours and the other one played for 10 minutes. What does that mean, really?